In this video, I'm going to show you how to retrieve California legislative history materials on Lexis and Westlaw, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about why and how I think it makes more sense to retrieve them from the California Legislature's official website. To get started retrieving your legislative history materials, just go ahead and type the citation to the statute in. When you scroll down, you'll see a little list at the end identifying every single time that the statute was enacted, every single time it was amended. So it'll give you the citation to the original bill that was introduced, so Assembly Bill or Senate Bill and the bill's number. It'll also give you a citation to the individual chapter law, so 610, and the session laws that publish statutes by date. So for example, Statutes of California 2003, chapter law 610 within that session law. If you're not sure which amendment or which enactment you should be focusing on, if you scroll down, there's a little section labeled Notes that'll tell you, okay, so 2011 just did some really technical cleanup. 2003 was a little bit more substantive, so I might want to focus on 2003 rather than 2011. Once I've decided which amendment I'm focusing on, all I need to do is just click on the link. This will take me to the final session law, so the final law organized by date. And then if I want more material, I can go into bill tracking, and this will give me the entire history of the bill, so explaining exactly what happened to it step by step by step from the time it was introduced all the way to the time it was signed by the governor. If I want the actual documents behind that history, I can go into all versions of this bill. As the name implies, that's going to be every single version of the bill from the original version that's introduced to all the various amendments it went through as going through the legislative process. If I go into legislative histories, the material that will give me varies by state. However, in California, what it's going to give me generally are signing and veto statements, and more significantly, more commonly, bill analyses. So these are just little documents that are written by staff working for the California Legislature, explaining exactly what the bill does, why it's introduced, what its purpose is, sort of going through the explanation behind the bill. On Westlaw, it's very similar. Just type in the citation to the statute. When you scroll to the end, you'll see that same little list of information identifying the original enactment of the bill and each amendment to the bill. If you're not sure what those amendments did, just go under History, Editors and Revisers Notes, and it'll tell you exactly what each amendment did to the bill. If you want all the legislative history materials for every single amendment, just go under History, Legislative History Materials, and it'll give you all those materials right there. So the reports written by, the bill analyses written by the Assembly staff, by the Senate staff, and the journals recording exactly what the legislature did on each day that it enacted them. It'll also give you the bill drafts, just under History, Bill Drafts. So all the different bill drafts for all the different amendments to the bill. If you want to really focus in on one specific amendment, just go back to the credits section, click on the amendment that interests you specifically, and it'll show you any bill drafts under the Bill Drafts tab and any legislative history materials for that specific enactment under the Legislative History Materials tab. So very simple, very easy. However, it's just as easy and completely free to get all of those same materials from the California Legislature's official website. So let's say I've decided the bill that interests me is AB 1770 from 2003. To get all of those same documents that I just put on Lexis and Westlaw completely free, I can just type in California Bills, click the very first link, type in the bill number, pop in the year, pop in the house if I want to, and then I'll get all of the same materials that I just paid a document fee to pull off Lexis and pull off Westlaw for free directly from the California Legislature. The only thing that's even a tiny bit tricky about this is that if I want bills that were passed between 1993 and 1999, those haven't been loaded onto the California Legislature's new website yet. So if I want those bills, I need to go back, click the second Google search result, and then go ahead and pop my search in there instead. And again, I'll get exactly the same materials that I would get on Lexis or Westlaw. This is not like the final statutes where Lexis and Westlaw are adding enhancements. It's exactly the same materials, but free and directly from the California government. The two exceptions where I would say it does make sense to use Lexis and Westlaw for legislative history materials are for the journals. I can get the California journals for free online. They're provided by the Office of the Chief Assembly Clerk. However, going through and compiling every single journal entry for every single action taken on the bill can be really annoying and time-consuming. So it's usually easier and faster just to go onto Westlaw, go into the Legislative History Materials tab, and just download the journals from there, where Westlaw has already compiled them for you. The other really, really big time when it makes a lot of sense to get your legislative history materials off of Lexis or Westlaw is if you're working with a bill between 1991 and 1993. So for bills between 1991 and 1993, those are not on the California Legislature's website, but they are going to be on Lexis. So in those cases, it makes a lot of sense to pull the bills off of Lexis because that's going to be your only source. However, for bills from 1993 forwards, rather than paying to pull those materials off of Lexis or off of Westlaw, I'd go ahead and get those materials for free directly from the California government on the California Legislature's website.